What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 3 of my reviewing and ranking Frank Zappa cover albums. Not albums Frank did with covers, but other people's cover albums of Frank Zappa's music. And today we're going through a live release, Zappa's Universe. I should probably maybe take out the case so there's no shine. Zappa's Universe. This was a celebration of Frank Zappa's music back in 1993. 4 shows at the Ritz in New York City. One of the tracks off this release, Sofa, the instrumental version, which featured Steve Vai quite heavily, just kind of being Steve Vai, playing that melody, putting some little licks at the end. Won a Grammy in 1994 for Best Rock Instrumental Performance. So yeah, quite a neat, fantastic release, if you ask me. Frank, this was a celebration of his music in 93 before he passed away. He was originally going to be a part of this project, but I think the project had been under works for several years. Joel Thome, Thome, the conductor, was sort of, I think, curating the songs, helping run it. I think it was might have been his pet project. He enlisted a bunch of former Zappa band members. Dweezil guest on guitar on a song. Steve Vai was on 2 songs on the release. Might have been on more songs in the course of the 4 shows, but on this release, Dweezil's on 1, Vai's on 2, Tunis is on bass and vocals. Dale Bozio shows up and does the Music is the Best monologue in one little moment just before a song. You get the sort of Zappa musician extraordinaires from Scandinavia. I think they're both from Mats Orberg and Morgan Ogren on drums and keyboards. Morgan on drums, Mats on keyboards, Mark Ziegenhagen also on keyboards. And then you had a whole bunch of violin players and brass players and woodwind players. And then I would say most importantly, at least as far as listening to this goes, as far as the vibe of this, as far as I think why this maybe succeeds to the nth degree that it does, it's Mike Keneally. Keneally is the lead guitarist for most of the tracks, the main singer. Just his presence, his energy, his sort of Steve Vai meets Adrian Belew sort of unique type of guitar style works perfectly. And he has the very first track is him saying, "The way I see it, Barry, this is going to be a really fine show," or whatever that line is. Not really good at remembering lyrics. His energy seems to be really carries through in the best way possible. And it very much feels like a celebration of Frank's music, but it also, at its best moments, feels like a band rocking out and enjoying playing Frank's music. And the best moments just sound like you're in a club seeing a band and they just happen to be playing Frank's songs. I have some complaints about this release. My biggest not my biggest complaint. I'll save that for last. One of my complaints is this was a selection of tracks over the course from 4 different shows. And so it's not, one single concert. I haven't looked at the set list of the 4 shows, so I actually don't know whether they're rearranged. So I don't actually know the context of that. But I do know that at the end of several of the songs, you can hear the first 5 or 6 seconds of the next song, but then it quickly fades out. And most of the time it's like, oh, we're not going to hear Any Kind of Pain. By Any Kind of Pain. I really wish I could have heard Any Kind of Pain. Oh, we're not going to hear Sex. Oh, I'm okay. I don't need to hear Sex. But I don't know. I think you could have maybe just cold cutted the endings and added maybe some fake audience applause at the end, or put some real audience applause and just mixed it in. The fade out endings kind of bother me, especially because it happens on the very first song, which is Elvis has just left the building, and then we get the beginning of Any Kind of Pain, and then that quickly fades out. It's like, oh, that just hurts the flow of the listen. So that is a complaint. The other complaint I pretty much only have 2 complaints, is, 3 complaints, because this complaint ties directly into the third complaint. Elvis has just left the building. The first song starts off with that lumpy gravy. The way I see it, Barry. Mike Keneally saying that. We get a Brown Shoes Don't Make It. Sounds great. But at the very end of the Brown Shoes Don't Make It, when we get that first, like that orchestral swell, and then it drops down and we get that like piano, dun, 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 that part, they cut part and they go right into the next song. So the cut is pretty harsh and kind of hurts. But what they go into immediately afterwards is jazz discharge party hats. And yes, Keneally does a fantastic job on the jazz discharge party hats. You know, he's playing the guitar at the same time, he's doing the lyrics. But I don't ever need to hear jazz discharge party hats again. I don't need to hear Frank's version of it. I don't need to hear them release the official concert that it was in. I dread Man from Utopia just because I don't want to listen to jazz discharge party hats again. I don't need to hear Keneally doing it when I could have 5 minutes of another song. So it hurts. First 3 tracks kind of hurt. Bad at it on Elvis, bad at it on Brown, then we get jazz discharge party hats. After that, though, fantastic. I like the 3 songs other than jazz discharge, but the flow is bad. Then we go into Inca Roads. Inca Roads sounds like a rock band playing Inca Roads. Keneally's solo sounds like a Keneally solo. He's not trying to be Frank, he's trying to be Keneally. Keneally's like doubling the da-na-na-na-na part when they come back into the lyrics. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Back into the after the guitar solo, back into the song. Keneally sounds fantastic. His energy is fantastic. Works perfectly. That goes into a really nice Maggio, really nice version of that. And then one of the definite highlights, they do a Nite School, a full band live version of Nite School. And it reminds me, it reminds me of like an mid-'80s version of Genesis, maybe like the Abacab tour, early '80s, maybe the Abacab tour, maybe even the Duke tour of Genesis. No, maybe the Abacab tour, maybe even the Invisible Touch tour as far as the sounds go. Sounds like that version of Genesis covering a Wind in the Wuthering deep track. Like, that's the vibe that this song gives me when it's performed by a live band. And Keneally's absolutely killing like this, just executed perfectly. But just the sort of sonic landscape reminds me a lot of Genesis. And it's a neat little proggy little number. But yeah, Nite School, one of the highlights of this, 100%. That's followed by another highlight, Echidna's Arf of You. Amazing. Sounds great. Sounds like you would see this in a club, like I'm in a club and this band's just rocking out, only they're dropping into Echidna's Arf. Absolutely fantastic. We get a really good Hungry Freaks Daddy. Again, the club energy is good. The rock energy is good. It does not sound like a cover band. It sounds like a band playing music. It's just, and I credit, it's got to be the tunists. It's got to be these people who are the musicians who know Zappa. It's got to be Keneally as the lead. It's just, the energy is so good. We get a Hungry Freaks Daddy. Then we dip into like the part where like the a cappella bands come out. We get a Heavenly Bank Account. We get the Meek Shell Hair and Nothing. We get that little pocket of songs in there, which it sounds good, but I definitely think it's a little more of a like, we're going into a little more of like a Vegas showcase type thing at this point, bringing out guest musicians. They're doing their thing. So they're good performances, but now the energy's just kind of shifting a little bit away from that rock band energy and a little more of a like, you know, like a celebration of Zappa, like what you might expect most of this to sound like. Not bad again, but I think the energy is a little different. We get a really nice version of Waka Jawaka. It says edit. I haven't heard the full version, so I don't know if this is edited from a longer version or if the edit is referring to like the arrangement of the song, because it's not like the full arrangement. Really nice to hear this. Again, it just sounds like, again, more like a rock band, just playing like a really cool sort of jazzy song in Waka Jawaka. Then we get the Grammy Award-winning Sofa featuring Steve Vai, with a nice little just shredding ending, you know, adding like some little like, you know, fireworks at the end, some 6-string fireworks. Then we get a nice stretched out Dirty Love that has Dweezil and Steve, and I'm assuming Mike is probably in there at some point trading licks with him. But it's a Dirty Love that kind of slows down and kind of just jams out in the middle. And I don't know, this would have been a nice thing to see Zappa do, because I like Dirty Love. It's just really short. But I think it would have been nice had they played the song and then had like an extended solo section more often and then went back in the song. Would have worked for me because it works really well on here. And then I think it's at this point, if I'm not mistaken, where Dale comes out and does the music is the best thing. And then they they close the show out with a Hot Plate Heaven at the Green Hotel. With a nice little solo section in it. So yeah, 14 songs, other than the Jazz Discharge Party Hats, which I don't like in any way, shape, or form. Really good set list. Nice diversity. Stuff as recent as Broadway the Hard Way. Stuff as not recent as the very first track off Freak Out. We got stuff from Absolutely Free on here. Got some One Size Fits All. We got some Jazz from Hell on here. Yeah, it's You Are What You Is, some Grand Wazoo. Yeah, we're not Grand Wazoo, Big Swifty. Yeah, all over the map. The band sounds great. Keneally's energy sounds great. It's a really fun, enjoyable, highly recommended listen. I don't know what the rest of the stuff sounds like from these 4 shows. I do think, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in like my collection of cassette tapes, I have a complete show of one of these that I think was an audience recording that I got way back in like the 90s. I don't think I've ever listened to it more than like a couple times when I first got it, because I don't think the sound is that good, if I remember correctly. But I don't know, man. If there's tapes of this somewhere, or if somebody has recordings of this and we can get like a full show, or if there were different set lists, a couple full shows, what is on here is really enjoyable. And I kind of would be interested to see what else was going on in these shows and what it sounded like and, you know, all that. I mean, this itself is only like less than 70 minutes long. So I'm assuming the full set lists were longer than that. Well, we know they're longer than that because I hear some of the songs that they do not play. I'm actually going to bring that up right now and see if we can get these. And they don't have the set list online. Otherwise, I was going to bring it up. But they're not out there. So anyways, yeah, this is great. It's awesome. I really enjoy this. Zappa's Universe. Highly recommended. If it's still out there, you check it out. It's just a really good listen. Oh, where would I rank it? It's at the top of the list. I think it is the best of the 3 that I have reviewed so far. Plus the Persuasions, who are at number 2, are on this one also. So you get that little bonus anyways. But it's a good listen. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was good. And I do know, based on comments I've got from another recent video I did, that there were people who are watching this channel who were at these shows. So anyways, peace. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this album. Comment, subscribe, like, and all that stuff. And talk to you later.